Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Yo, yo, yo. Hello. Good morning. What's going on, party people in the house? First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. It's Friday, y'all. Get up and get your body moving. Know what we're doing. Yes. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul Beeee, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich in the house.
Hey.
There we go. What's going on, y'all? Hey. Oh, man. Well, good morning to y'all.
Hey.
What's happening?
People coming on in.
6:30 crew over here at the radio channel. Appreciate you. I'm seeing that it's working, so let me know if it's sounding good. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Once again, you're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul Beeee, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich. Friday, February 11th, 2022. We got a good morning from Lucia Rodriguez over on YouTube. What's happening? What's happening?
Hey.
Got a good morning from Miss Erica Felt. She says, hey, good morning. Brother Muhammad gives us assalamu alaikum, family.
Hey, alaikum salam, brother.
What's going on, man? Chrissy Knorr says good morning. And Wanda Lewis gives us a good morning. What's happening, y'all?
How you doing on this here Friday?
Are y'all feeling
That
good
the
on
Lord
Friday?
made.
He said what?
That the Lord made.
On this here Friday that the Lord made?
Yeah, man.
I like it. I like it. Oh, Pop's in the house. Pop
Hey.
says, in my Donald Trump voice, good morning. I missed y'all on Monday and Wednesday. I was here, but none of you were. I'm glad you finally made it back. Laugh out loud. Seriously, thanks to all of you that asked about me, and a special thanks to those who sent me a DM. Nice. I love you, and I missed you all like crazy, and I'm glad to be back with my First Sky fan. What's up, Pops?
Hey. Nice to have you back. Nice to have you back.
Yeah, I'm glad you're feeling better. That's what's up. I was going to say, if he ain't on today, I'm going to have to take a little flight real quick.
Man, definitely got to make sure the fam is good.
Make sure the fam is good. How you doing, man? Fam good on your side?
Yeah, we're good. Everything is all right. Little mama is getting big. She's like this close to crawling. So I'm trying to brace myself. You know, I'm used to laying her down and knowing where she's at. You know, as soon as they get to crawling, it's over. It's over.
Get to crawling. It's like, where the cookies and stuff?
Getting into everything.
Ty Williams gives us a good morning. What's happening? Christy Knorr says, Pops, we're glad you're better.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, man. Brother Muhammad says, I'm striving to make my word my bond. I heard that.
Man.
Word is bond. That's what's up.
Hey,
we're definitely going to have you on, Brother Muhammad, next week, man. Talk about your run here. So you got a campaign team and everything, man. We want everybody to meet the team and all that.
Yeah, definitely want to give a shout out to the Black Agenda Alliance. I think this is like the second or third candidate that they been behind. So yeah, making moves in the community. So
hey, I just found out they got a podcast too. I think it was yesterday.
Okay,
I'm gonna have to dig into that next.
Got to check that out. But yeah, we're gonna have to reach out to you, Brother Muhammad, set that up ASAP. But speaking of that, we do have a couple guests coming on today, so. Brace yourselves for that. Hopefully have your questions ready. Alisha Shelton, put some respect on her name, running for Congress, who will be speaking with her. And then also we got Chris Youngblood Bolin coming through a little later on. Again, that's writer from The Reader, our partners over there at The Reader doing the good work. Again, their Disinvested project going on, so look out for that. They got a couple stories out already, so definitely tap in and get that good read on good information over there at The Reader.
I'm going to try to send that to some, I don't know, some contest or something. I feel like they need to be winning awards for that Disinvested series articles. Somebody need to see that.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to, see if we can get them in front of some people. There are all kinds of journalism, awards and Great Plains, this and that. So, yeah, man, it's good. It's good writing, well deserving of all the accolades. But most importantly, We want the people to read it. That's the most important part. So definitely tell a friend and tell a friend. Check it out, man. The reader that gets down.
That's right. Got a good morning from Beth Alvarado over here on the channel. She says, always good to hear you. Appreciate you. It's always good. I'm glad you're listening. Let me
Yeah.
know how the mix was this morning too. Every time I put the mix on, I think of the 6:30 Club. It
Hey.
gets up and checks us out. Appreciate you, brother Sanchez. Mayor Sanchez says, "YouTube's where it's at. It's my duty to please."
All right, man. All right, take it easy. Take it
Coming in with
easy.
them. You know he from the '90s with them nasty lyrics,
Yeah,
them
yeah,
old
yeah. All I want
songs.
to do is no. I'm just but yeah,
Uh,
man, we definitely appreciate y'all tuning in. YouTube is where it's at. We are tubing, twitching, and tweeting, so
yep,
you
yep.
can check us out in many places now. That's one of the changes for season 3. Again, space is the place, so we trying to meet y'all in all the spaces and places that y'all like to be. So again, we appreciate you for everyone, for giving the feedback. I'm seeing even a couple people over there on Twitch checking us out.
That's what's
So
up.
yeah, man. We appreciate all the love that we're getting at. And speaking of the love, again, feel free to chime in to the chat. Let your mind be free. Let your voice be heard. Our brother Melvin Muhammad says he'll have sis Carl Warner. Okay, yeah. Again, shout out to everybody involved with the
Lord Kyra Warner.
BAA. Yeah,
Bless,
yeah.
bless her. Bless her. Yeah, we'll reach
Powerful,
out.
powerful sister. Yeah, we'll definitely have to reach out to them.
She gets down. Yeah,
How you
man.
doing, man?
Man, I'm hanging in there, man. It's Friday. It's been a long week.
Yeah,
It was a little rough getting up this morning, but I'm doing all right.
you got your
Not too
coffee.
bad. I did get the coffee. Didn't leave the coffee
Okay.
on the counter this morning. Brought it with me this time, so
Okay.
should be good.
Yeah. Okay, she
Yeah,
should be should be all right for the
be all
show.
right.
Yeah. So
Looking
again,
forward to the weekend. Taking a little break.
definitely on that one. Definitely on that one. But
Yeah.
before we get into the weekend, we got 2 hours of show in between here and there. So let's go ahead and get into it, man. We got a few things to talk about again. Didn't mention we will have Alisha Shelton running for Congress on, and as we get closer into this election cycle, the election season, we'll definitely have more and more political candidates on. And there's actually a lot of races that we should be paying attention to. So definitely, if there's anyone out there that's running for something that you're are interested in or would like to learn more about, let us know. Let us know. We'll
Yeah.
definitely try to bring them on and ask the questions that need to be asked, or at least give you the opportunity to ask your burning questions. So
Yeah.
again, have your questions ready for Miss Alisha Shelton coming a little later on the show. Also, Chris Bowling coming on to discuss the latest installment in the Disinvested article or project or series, I guess is a better way to put
Mm-hmm.
it. Series.
Mm-hmm.
Again, over at the Reader, thereader.com. Check them out. The Disinvested project. Again, looking at the lack of investment in communities of color, specifically North and South Omaha, from various angles. And again, if there's anything that you're interested in and looking in, or have any questions in the community, like, hey, why isn't this happening? Feel free to let us know. We have the ear of the people over there at the Reader, and we definitely are looking forward to passing along those stories and passing along your concerns and questions, so the good people over there at the Reader can look into it. So
Yeah.
again, let us know. Also, we will be speaking about this latest bill coming from Senator Terrell McKinney. Put some respect on his name, man. Again, he has not backed down from anything really since he stepped into office, and going hard on police reform, prison reform. He has not been shy about sharing the fact that he has family members in prisons. He's been, falsely accused and brutalized by police in his own time, and he's not backing down. Again, this new bill is holding police accountable to the fullest extent. So much so, some opposers are saying that it's shaming police. Is that? Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Mm-hmm. Terrell McKinney is the Terrence Bud Crawford of the Senate.
Ooh, yeah, he's not
But
holding any punches
no,
at
not
all.
pulling no punches. No.
No, man. So again, we'll talk about that bill, LB 882, I believe it's called, and then also. And this is a little known law that Paul, you came across this one, and I definitely like to talk about it a little more. You had actually a pretty interesting caption on Facebook about this. Talk about how the greedy use laws and things like that. But
Mm.
this quiet title law is something that's pretty interesting. Apparently, a family found that their house was on sale and they didn't know it. Affordable housing is the thing we talk about a lot here on the show, and just even we when we talk about affordable housing, it's always in the realm of just getting into the house. But lo and behold, once you get into the house, can you keep it? So we'll talk about that and more throughout the show. Of course, if there's anything on your hearts, your minds that you would like to talk about, feel free to let us know. Again, let your mind be free, let your voice be heard. This is First Sky Omaha Fresh Friday edition. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich, all of you. Let's go.
Let's do it. Good morning. Once again, thanks for joining us this fresh edition on Friday, February the 11th. This is First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich. Stay tuned. Stay with us the whole show if you can. We're going to have Alisha Shelton is one of my favorite people in the world coming through a little later on. And then also Chris Bowling from The Reader is going to come through on the second hour and talk about this invested series of articles. So definitely come in and check that out. The chat is already going off really nicely this morning. Really appreciate that. First of all, welcome back, Pops. Everybody was asking about you, so I'm glad you're back. Erica Felt says Alexa is delayed by a word or two, messing her up when she walks in the living room. So try to restart that and see if that helps anything. Brother Muhammad said Miss Wanda is rolling with us, so they got the squad over there for Brother Muhammad's. Yeah, man. Christy Norris says, Did you see Darth Vader is running against Bacon? You have to give us more insight on that.
Wait, what? Wait, what?
Darth Vader is running against Bacon.
The Empire has returned.
Is it one of them fake candidates in there again, like D's over there in Iowa? Kateri Him and Pedro gives us a good morning. Excited to tune in this morning with some sunshines and smiles. Appreciate that very much.
Sunshine in.
Brianna Full in the house. She says, good morning with some sunshine. Can't wait to hear from Alisha. I heard that. We can't wait to hear from you. So we gotta connect with you and get you on next week too. Talk about your campaign. Really appreciate that exclusive that you gave us on that video. That's what's up. Imani Murray gives us a good morning. Good morning to you. How you doing?
Hey, Miss Idol Vital herself. Vital.
There you go. Building. I'm fiending for that. I need to get back over there real soon.
Tap in, y'all.
Man, you got to. Miss Erica Fell says, I had a 2-year lease and was told 1 year in that they were selling, and any day I could receive a 30-day notice. This was past June. I was housing insecure for 6 months.
Man.
Yeah. And that's kind of the typical situation. This thing we're going to talk about a little later on today. They just can sneaky take the house out from under you. Hot mess. Lots to be talking about here with this. Is this definitely along the lines of affordable housing, housing security, as Ms. Erica Felt is saying, and so on and so forth. So yeah, lots to talk about today. Don't forget to chime into the chat. This is what this is all about. If you're tired of Facebook, you can go over to YouTube, and when you get over there, please subscribe, hit the bell, all that stuff, and you can also jump into the chat on YouTube too as well. So we're also on Twitter, and we're also Twitching. We're doing a lot more on Twitter these days too, just because that's kind of where alternative news and news in general is always being shared. So definitely follow us on Twitter as well, and be great. Christy Norris says Schultz, I think is his name. He dresses up as Darth Vader for events. He's running because Trump called for someone to challenge Bacon. Okay, so we got the real deal dressed up Vader running against Don Bacon. That sounds like a good time. Stacey Jean gives us a good morning. First Sky Omaha family and friends. Appreciate you. That's what's up.
Hey.
I can't wait to see the campaign posters on that one. Vader versus Bacon.
Yeah, that's going. Aggie Kid is on. We're gonna need you to hop on the memes ASAP.
Ms. Erica Fell says, I'll be sharing the bill information that will bring Nebraska subsidized children providers fees to 75% of the market rate on Nebraska providers spot this afternoon. Meanwhile, other states are already at 75% and are set to receive 90%. When providers receive a fair fee, they are able to do more for the children they serve. Heard that? We'll be looking for
Yeah.
that. We'll be looking for that as well. So yeah, definitely check it out. Get with Miss Erica Felt on the DM because she needs a letter today that'll help a situation out over there too. Is basically just companies that are saying we need better child care. Let her explain it to you though. So jump into the DM there and talk to her and see if you can help her out today as well. It's due today, so as soon as I get back, I'm gonna try to jump on ours and see what I can do as well. So
Think
yeah,
there's a
man.
situation with the official letterhead with that.
Yeah, official letterhead and all that stuff. We gotta try to help the friends of out on this one. So
Yeah. So actually, speaking of friends of, that's where that information is. So again, if you are so willing to do so, have it in your heart, go ahead and check that out. Information on our friends of, or go ahead, as Paul mentioned, just go ahead and DM Miss Erica Felt herself. Also, speaking of friends of First Sky Omaha, a lot of stories on there. So big shout out to everybody posting stories and keeping us on top of everything. As again, still where we pull a lot of our stories, and one in particular, shout out to Brother Vaughn Chapman and of course Senator Terrell McKinney. Let's go ahead and dive right into it, man. This new bill that he has, keeping cops accountable, which is one of the many things that people have called for. Really over the last 2 years now, since George
last 2
Floyd.
decades, I mean.
Yeah, really, right. But definitely, the last 2 years, the whole defund the police movement, and we've seen a wave of bills and changes across the country as a result, and this is undoubtedly another continuation of that. And again, big shout out to Senator Terrell McKinney. Put some respect on his name for this newest bill, LB 882, which will require law enforcement agencies to create and maintain a public list of officers who would be subject to a Brady disclosure in court. And for those of you who aren't familiar, a Brady disclosure refers to the U.S. Supreme Court decision in 1963 case Brady versus Maryland, in which prosecutors must disclose potentially exculpatory evidence in a criminal case to the defense. Such evidence includes cases in which an officer involved in the case has a confirmed record of lying in their official capacity or some other misconduct that could impact their credibility in court. Again, that sort of alleviates your word versus the police officer's word, which a lot of people are aware is a hard thing to get over. A do not call list of the so-called Brady cops is often maintained by the prosecuting attorneys. McKinney says making those lists open to the public would improve transparency of law enforcement and hold those agencies accountable. So again, a do not call list is a list in which prosecutors used, and these are officers who cannot be called to court to testify because their word is just shaky. It's just not trustworthy. And I mean, I will go a step further. If that's the case, should they be cops?
Well, that's the question.
Yeah, that's the question. That's the question.
If they don't even trust them, then
right.
Why are they on the street?
Right. But of course, there's going to be opposition to this type of law. Opponents of the public disclosure actually want business as usual from law enforcement. The bill had the support of Media of Nebraska, which is actually an organization of print and broadcast outlets from across the state, which said that publishing the list would make information already compiled by law enforcement agencies available to the public. And again, our friend Chris Bowling can kind of give us more of a glimpse of how hard it is to get information like this from officials. Again, Chris has filled out several Freedom of Information Act requests, and a lot of times he either gets nothing or that information is heavily redacted. So again, to make a law for this type of information to be made public, A lot of people are seeing a reason for it, but some on the other side are saying that it will infringe on privacy and actually shame the officers on the list. Corby Gilbertson, an attorney representing the state's media outlets, said any claim that the list would infringe on privacy is outweighed in the public's interest in law enforcement accountability, and that's really the crux of the argument. Of course, Anthony Connor, president of the police officers union, is stepping in to the fray, and it's sort of the police officers union and the public media on either side of this argument. And again, at the center of it is either transparency for police or is it shame?
And what kills me about it is they don't think nothing about shaming criminals. They use shame and
Nope.
punishment all the time when it comes to that stuff. You got
Nope.
your face plastered everywhere all the time when you get arrested on stuff. I see Precious McKesson is in the house. Good morning. I saw you fired up about some things a little earlier today. I can't wait to talk to you about that. But good morning. Thanks for joining us this morning, and let us
Yes,
know
yes.
what you thinking on this subject. There has to be some kind of accountability here, and yeah, if they have a list, it don't make no sense for the public not to be able to have access to it, to be able to see what's happening there too. So it's just really interesting. Of course they want, of course there's an opposition, of course it's coming from the union
Mm-hmm.
specifically,
Yeah.
but most police officers are going to or not want this is the reason why you get like body cams turned off sometimes and stuff like that. They want to be able to operate without being scrutinized, and that's just unacceptable. So really happy that brother McKinney is pushing on this one, and I hope he gets some support.
Yeah, yeah, we definitely have to write letters or whatever we can to make sure that he does get that support, and of course, definitely in the face of the opposition. Let's not gloss over the fact that it's the police, the fraternal order of the police and the police unions that are up against. These are two very powerful organizations. Let's not forget that. Again, Jim McGuire, president of the Nebraska Fraternal Order of Police, said a bill that was passed last year, LB 51, already created a public database. So there is a public database, but that's of law enforcement officers who are either A, convicted of a crime, or B, resigned as a result of an investigation. That says nothing about the people that are still serving on the force, the people that still have the power, essentially of judge and jury on the street.
Which is most of them, because most of them just get a little paid vacation, come right back to work, or go work somewhere else, or
Right.
get fired, and the union gets them back on. So most of them are still working that are problematic. It's very rare when when one gets fired or or convicted or anything like that. It's super rare, which is the reason why the Chauvin case is huge, because how many how many times do cops get convicted of stuff? Not many. So, yeah, I think this is definitely one. We're behind. We gotta, we gotta help whatever Brother McKinney needs to get going on this one. I'm down for that. Miss Erica Felt cracks me up. She says, but the police always say if you've done nothing wrong, you have nothing to hide.
Right.
That's their favorite slogan. They want some anonymity here. We got a good morning from Mama God. What's going on, Mama God? Good
Hey,
morning.
top of the morning.
Got a good morning from Brooke Rodriguez as well. What's happening? What's happening? Brianna Full says more transparency and accountability of the police is definitely needed for
Yeah.
sure. Chris Ignore says the public member of the for the review board in Lincoln is the widow of Leo killed in the line of duty. Does she really have the ability to be unbiased?
Mm.
One of the public members for the review board in Lincoln. Interesting. Kateri Human Pedo says Omaha officers can kill people and be let back on the force like nothing happened. Yes, what we just said. We were just talking
Yeah.
about that. Never forget that. That's kind of the first time I ever saw it up close and personal. Schmatter actually fired the killers of Brother Borhills, and they got let back on the force because of the pressure from the union. So not cool. Not cool at all. Rome's review says reminds us of that phrase qualified immunity that they
Yeah,
get.
man.
Cops can just be killing and doing stuff and get qualified immunity that needs to go away. Beer Hills, yeah, thank you very much. The same thing with Chauvin happened here with the murder of Zachary Beer Hills, exactly. Also, We got a good morning from Von Chapman. It's time to talk about getting rid of qualified immunity again, for sure, for sure. Michelle Moreno gives us a good morning. Good morning to you. Yeah, I think we all on kind of the same page with this one. This bill that brother Senator McKinney, put some respect on his name, is pushing. Is just trying to open up for more transparency. Being able to really hold cops accountable. Why not? Everybody, there's a real push against holding anybody accountable until it comes to like when they're trying to arrest people.
Right. And somebody else pointed out something. Chrissy Kanor says, or transfer somewhere else, job hopping.
Right.
I would take it a step further. I definitely think that not just if someone is on this Brady do not call list, should that be made public. But yeah, I definitely agree. Whether or not they transfer for somewhere else, that should be made public. And also, I do think that there should be some kind of audit of social media accounts, because it's been reported several times how many police officers are a part of these right wing hate groups,
Yeah.
and forums and things like that. All that information should be made public. And I understand, not wanting to be scrutinized. Like it's hard to flip a burger when you got somebody just staring you down, watching, looking over your shoulder. And in theory, nobody wants to work like that. But I don't know, man. I think police officers that job should be an exception.
Well, that's the thing. You ain't flipping no burgers. You have the power to kill people. You need some scrutiny. You need somebody looking over your shoulder for that. Why they think that's not necessary is ridiculous. Terry Human Pedal says, we walk every year for Zachary. We would love First Sky family to be there this year. I'm sure some of you have walked with us. Let us know when.
Yeah.
Let us know when for sure. Yeah, that was messed up, man. That whole situation messed me up. The way that brother was tased. They try to come up with some phrases to try to act like they didn't tase him to death. Like it was like he died on his own, excited. Like, what do they call it?
Excited delirium.
Yeah, like that makes any sense at all. Like that's even a thing. Then they get fired and then get right back up on the force. Christy Norris says, when nurses make mistakes, it's public record. The same should apply to cops. When you got people's lives in your hands, why wouldn't you have some oversight besides your own organization? Doesn't make any sense. Mama guys, you guys talking to each other in there. Okay. That's what's up.
Yeah, keep the chats coming. Definitely let your mind be free, let your voice be heard. Let us know what you have to say on that. Oh, DJ Votto in the building. Hey,
bro, I just noticed you tried to give me a call on Facebook. I'm not used to them Facebook calls. I didn't see it till later, but I got to give you a call back, bro. DJ Votto's doing some big things, bro, and he's on the radio now too.
Yeah, man.
That's what I'm talking about, man.
Hey, Paul was just telling me you down here in the A. I need to tap in with you, man.
Hey, buddy's down in the A, DJ Votto. You got to get with him for sure.
Yeah, I'm a coalition and everything. Let's tap in.
Man, back to the subject real quick. Ariel's 402 says police officers are contractors. This is the other thing too, man. I think that they are they pull when they want to. Then they're like, we're a private organization, though, really. So we shouldn't be subject to this. We should have some privacy with our job, And it's like we say that same thing. Well, what's your jurisdiction then if you're a private company? Like if you're a private company, how is it that you're in our neighborhoods policing us? So don't go both ways.
Sounds like a mercenary. I'm not trying to be radical or anything, but those sound like mercenaries to me.
Contractors, straight up contractors. Brianna Full says you can email or call the senators of the Judiciary Committee and tell them to advance Senator McKinney's bill LB 882. Okay. Thank you for that information. Let's do that. Email and call the senators. There you go.
Have some marching orders. Actually, I know there's a list of senators somewhere of emails and things.
Wanda said we pay their salaries. That's right.
Man, public servants. That's what they do.
We pay a lot in taxes too, man. This taxes stuff is tax season for us right now. And it's like, man, how much money? How are you just gonna take all our money?
Man,
and then where does it go? It goes to people that are brutalizing us. That's not fun.
Financing our own Own oppression.
Own oppression. Terry Bricker gives us a happy Friday. What's going on, Terry Bricker? Good morning to you. The fam in the house. That's what's up. 7:30. If you believe in the concept of time, if you're trying to keep track of it right now. Once again, you're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul Beeee, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich, off to a good start with some of these topics right now and the comments that we're getting from you guys and all the heads that are in right now. Really appreciate you guys coming through and jumping into the chat here. So we got some more to talk about and some guests coming up. Stick around. We'll have Alisha Shelton coming through at about 7:45, and can't wait to talk to her. Get your questions ready for her as well. Really, really appreciate everybody who's here because I can't wait for you guys to meet her. If you don't know who she is, one of my favorite people. She's like the cheerleader of life, Alisha Shelton, and she's running for Congress.
Yep.
So we're talking to her about her run. But before that, we'll take a quick break and come right back. Once again, you're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul Beeee, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich. Space is the place, baby. Stay tuned. If you're just joining us, you're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul Beeee, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich. It is Friday. I'm happy it's Friday, too. I'm looking forward to the weekend. Friday, February 11th, 2022. What you deep in thought over there about, man? You sitting there like...
Me? I'm reading through the comments.
Okay. Where'd Buddy go? He kind of...
No, I'm
dug deep into something.
I'm reading the comments. Let your mind be free. They letting their voice be heard, man.
That's what's up. Ariel's report to the IRS stands for theirs. I heard that. Serving the public with public funds, private where? Right. It's Erica Felt. Christy Norris says, yes, Alisha for Congress. That's what's up. Alisha Shelton coming on in just about 15 minutes. Definitely stick around for that. If you haven't heard her speak, you're going to be in for a surprise. She's dynamic.
Mama God says, private org serving the public with full protection under private org laws. Sounds very cyclical to me. What you going to hide behind the loop until you kill us all?
That's what I'm saying. That sounds like a lyric. You better go and put that in the song there. Brother Abraham says, Grand Rising. What's happening, brother?
Hey, peace.
Yeah. Welcome back. Thanks for all the comments on this subject here, and we'll definitely keep our eye on it. We're in talks with Brother McKinney to come on to the show, talk about some of these bills. We don't really bother them too much when they're in session because they're usually very busy. Man, can't really get out all the time. So if we do get them before the session's over, then we'll be lucky. But they have expressed, him and brother who I said, Terrell McKinney and Brother Justin Wayne, put some respect on his name, both said that they wanted to come back and talk a little bit too. And Precious, if you're still here, we sure are ready to get back and talking to you about some things. I don't know if you worked some of that stuff out yet over there where you're at, but we would love to get back to politicking with P on some things as well. So
yeah, man,
I'm building up my list of questions and things to talk about with you. So let us know when you're ready. We need to see what's going on in the DC area these days. So that's what's up, man. Brother Abraham says taxation. We have accepted this as being civilized. Law enforcement is supposed to protect and serve, but under the authority of the law or leadership administering the law, which leads to our issue of who those laws were designed for. I've been this season, as a matter of fact, have been really realizing like how messed up people use laws. Like
Mm.
we already kind of intrinsically a little bit, especially if you're black, are feeling a little bit like these laws is bogus. Been feeling like laws are bogus. Period. Who comes up with the laws? Bunch of white dudes coming up with laws. You know what I'm saying? Like who comes up with these laws in the first place and why? And if you hear any kind of thinking individual, you're gonna wonder, and you're gonna realize that a lot of it is against you, just for you, just because it's you. And then you start digging deeper and seeing how they use laws for
Yeah.
things, and you realize like it's real greedy and real corrupt, man. They really got some mess out there that they call legal. There's back in the day, back in the early meme days, when some of the first memes they talked about was about how slavery was legal and the Holocaust was legal. You want to talk about legal in the law? Well, that all laws ain't, you know what I'm saying? All laws are not fair. All laws are not
Just.
just. Who came up with the law? Who supported those laws? And then we're the enforcement. They call them law enforcement for a reason. They're enforcing those laws. Laws is where it starts. Get people in seats that got some sense, and maybe we can use that to help some situations out instead of always being hurt by the situations.
That's the idea. That's the idea. And that was the whole point of the ballot of the bullet.
But bro, Ron Chapman said the police force was the slave patrol. It still are.
Yeah. In a lot of respects.
Yeah, they round us up and put us in jail, which is modern day slavery. They still are slave patrol. Chrissy Knorr says slavery is still legal in the justice system. Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know if they fully taken it out of Nebraska yet, but they just recently voted to take it from Nebraska's constitution. Up until a couple years ago, yes, slavery was still legal in the Nebraska state constitution for those who are convicted of a crime.
And even if they did take it out, the amendment 13
It's still in the U.S. Constitution.
means that you're still a slave when you're in jail. You still
Yes,
get your rights taken away.
under federal law, yes, that is still a thing.
Anyway, moving on. 7:37 right now. What you got next on the agenda over there, buddy?
Oh well, I kind of want to hold this housing story over for the second hour when we touch in with Chris, because I know the reader and their disinvested project
Mhm.
does a lot with housing, but this is a story that we didn't really get to touch on. It's actually a national story,
Mm.
but it actually this is something that impacted Alisha Shelton, our next guest, who was a product of Xavier University. I myself am a product of Florida A&M University, and talking about these bomb threats to the HBCUs. Kind
Okay.
of squeezed that in there in the lightning round last episode, and I want
Mhm.
to actually spend some time to talk about it, man, because it goes right into what we're talking about. As Ariel's just said, police wore blue hoods by day and white hoods by night. The police captain was the grand wizard. So we have activities going on the outside as far as we see how police are brutalizing people. Um, we just talked about how there are, hate groups and um, different sects and militias and groups that are active across the country. Actually, Nebraska has one of or the highest number of active hate groups in the country. And now we have these covert acts of bomb threats to historically black colleges and universities across the country. Actually, 14 different HBCUs, including also a historically black high school, have all been targeted as of Tuesday of last week. Actually, yeah, the first day of Black History Month, at least 14 HBCUs are reported bomb threats. There has been an arrest made. There has been an update. The FBI did undergo an investigation. The investigation into the bomb threats was of the highest priority, the FBI said in a statement. And although at the time no explosive devices were found at any of the location, the threats were still taken as serious. And we are committed to thoroughly, aggressively investigating these threats. And it says, the FBI. And of course, students are responding. One Calvert White, a student at Jackson State University in Mississippi, says HBCUs have a long history of physical threats just because of our existence. I think the threats aren't individual or coincidental, that it's a clear attack on black students who choose to go to black schools. What is not clear, who made the threat. The student says, I think the uncertainty, especially in the age of COVID and heightened race relations, is part of the goal of whomever has been making the threats. I went on to say it's very disturbing. It made me feel as though I am not safe. And this goes back to the conversation we were having with the, again, kind of joking about the Get Out film and the report of the man in Pittsburgh who was found dead after he was invited to a sleepover or a camping trip with a coworker. Also, the young woman found in Atlanta who was found dead after she was invited to a sleepover um, with coworkers. I can't look at all of these stories in silos. I have to look at all of these as pieces of a larger picture. And again, I'm not trying to be an alarmist or anything, but I think it's fair to ask the question: what's going on?
It's a good question. I just heard. I think I just heard on the news this morning that hate crimes are on the rise. And believe it, in they talked about California a lot. Like there's record hate crimes going on in California right now,
Mm-hmm.
which was kind of surprising to me because it's usually a little bit more laid back when it comes to that kind of stuff. But we talk about the Trump effect. We've been talking about it all year. And this it's still here. It's still like Brother Abraham just said in the chat. He said those individuals that get ousted for being racist in the public eye become what we call sleeper cells.
Mm.
There's a lot of underground stuff going on, man. You definitely have to be checking your safety and everything because of the climate right now. It's I'm surprised that back in the day we'd be the dude up in the bell tower trying to take people out at these colleges. You know what I'm
Man,
saying? And still that kind of vibe happening, especially with these threats. So I like how we were talking about it yesterday, though, and we were like HBCUs are like, yeah, we ain't tripping. This been going on since the first day of the college opening. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like we knew the threat when you was going in the first place, and now and the climate and everything else. So there's power in numbers. There's power in people getting together, keep each other safe, and doing what they can do. But
mm.
yeah, it's a real deal fight going on out here.
And actually, there's a quote in here that speaks to the exact thing I just alluded to as far as the larger, again, all of these pieces aren't just alone. They aren't just in a vacuum. There's a larger thing seeming to happen. And McCall, who's a provost at Xavier University, said that these threats to the refuge that HBCUs can be speaks to a larger issue. I went on to say, we know that we are targeted as a cluster, right? Because we're historically black institutions. We also know our neighbors, Jewish neighbors, Muslim neighbors, around the country are targeted by white supremacists as well. And so, in this teaching that needs to occur around our country, we need to see that this is a part of a large white supremacist project that must not be taken for anything other than that. So, when we talk about some of the political moves that's happening in the state, some of the people running for governor, some of the people running for um, school board, state school board, some of the people running for attorney general in the state, we can't look at these things as separate.
Mm.
Really can't afford to.
Yeah, it's tough. In the chat, Brother Muhammad gives us a link to an article about a person found dead that went out with 8 Caucasian individuals. I'm just looking at the tag here. I haven't looked into the article, but definitely
Mm.
check it out. Read the story. Brianna Full says racism is alive and well. Anyone who says otherwise doesn't care to pay attention. Yeah, got their head in the sand for sure. Brother Abraham says they become your national guard, police, school teachers, lawyers, doctors. That's why it's important to implement critical race theory so that you can see them. That's really interesting. Yeah, the one thing about that is that once you understand that our law and everything is built on race, really, which is something blew my mind this year was this lawyer that said that like if you don't understand about racism, then you don't understand about our legal system. Like you got to understand that it's been built on that. So, yeah, in order to really understand like some of these systems and what's been going on, and then when you're woke, when you wake up to it, then you look around and it is everywhere. It's National Guard,
Yeah.
police, school teachers, lawyers, doctors, for sure. So definitely got to become aware of it, and I think places like HBCUs are hyper aware of of some of these things.
Oh yeah, that was kind of the craziest thing about going to a HBCU was the fact that you are surrounded by it. You're constantly reminded of the struggle. You're constantly reminded of the fight, and almost uh going to a HBCU is almost like a rite of passage into the struggle, into the fight. I mean, I don't know if I would be here doing this, 3 times a week if I didn't go to a HBCU, because I
There
am
you go.
aware of, the power that I have as a journalist, as a human being, to add to the fight, to speak up at least.
Well,
So yeah,
and
they're all.
speaks. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Just saying, they're all aware. Like that's one of the main things of going to HBCU is making you aware of who you are and your power.
There you go. Speaking of HBCU alumni, we got our special guest in the house,
Yeah.
Alisha Shelton. What's happening, Miss Shelton? Can you hear us?
Hi everyone. I can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
I
Yes.
can. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Yeah,
thank-
definitely.
thanks for coming on. We're really looking forward to this.
Oh, thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, we're happy
Yeah.
to have you. A lot of people in our chat are also excited to have you here and looking forward to hearing from you. So definitely welcome you. And again, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. For those who don't know, again, Miss Alisha Shelton running for Congress, District 2. And
Yeah.
also, again, as Paul said, HBC alumni, Xavier University, right?
Yep. Xavier, I gotta make sure I tell all the listeners how to say it, because there's 2 universities called Xavier is the one in Cincinnati, Ohio, and then Xavier, like as if
Okay.
it's like a Zay, right? Like Xavier is the one in New Orleans. So
Okay.
that's where I attended. And I think HBCUs are magical. I think they make you feel like you have superpowers, right? Like you just want to take on the world, and you learn how to get support from every direction. And it was a place that was an amazing opportunity for me to grow into early adulthood. So yeah.
Yeah, see, I told y'all, man. I'm a product of Florida A&M University, so yeah, HBCU love all up in here. And actually, as you come in, we're actually just talking about the situation that happened here in Black History Month. Again, the series of threats. I actually believe your institution was one of those schools that was targeted, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they were. They were. And so how scary for individuals as you are trying to pursue your education, when we already have many of these individuals in high school, right, that had to learn the drills of what to happen with an active shooter. Now they are attending college and they have bomb threats. I can't imagine what it's like to be on those universities now, right? Especially when many of our college campuses are open. You can find a way to simply drive or walk onto the campus. And so I'm thinking about all those individuals that are attending those universities, and Xavier was one. And I think they're doing everything they can to inform the authorities as this is happening. I just hope that they continue to investigate and find who is doing this, especially during Black History Month. It feels like a slap in the face.
Definitely.
Yeah. I was thinking about the kids, having to deal with that, like you said, active shooter drills, and then now bomb threats and all that.
Man.
But they're gonna be all right. They're gonna be all right. I'm from Generation X. We had nuclear war every day. We was worried about, so they'll be okay. They'll be all right.
Yeah, that's good. I didn't think about that. That's a good point. Hiding under the desk or training for active shooter drills. It's always something, it seems like. But I will say that this political climate, there is something that seems a little different to it. And I'm kind of curious about your thoughts about running for Congress in this political climate. As Brother Melvin Muhammad says, we are at war, family. So I don't know. Is that a sentiment you agree with, or what are your thoughts on the political climate and kind of why you feel the need to run?
Look, I come from humble beginnings. I grew up in North Omaha. I lived in Pleasant View East, which was right beside Charles Drew. They tore that area down. But I was raised in my district with 7 siblings by a single mother. My mom taught me CPR at age 7. My mom's a nurse. She firmly believes that we are supposed to be here for other people who are on this earth simply because we are all human. And she said that we have to pay attention. When people need us, we have to be there. That's become my entire mantra my entire life. And so I've learned how to be there for people through advocacy. When I left my district and attended Xavier, I came back every summer and worked at Kellogg's to pay the remaining portions of my tuition. That was also the first time I joined a union. And so as a mental health therapist, I'm trained to listen and advocate for others. And the reason why, for everyone who's tuning in, good morning. My name is Alisha Shelton, and I'm running for Congress because Nebraskans deserve an advocate who will be here when we need them and not forget about them like the incumbent. I've been talking to neighbors all over the district, and Nebraskans want an economic recovery plan, increased access to broadband services, in addition to protection of women's health, expansion of affordable health care, federal mandates for voting rights, and finally, a plan for climate change. And I'm ready to deliver all of those. We are at war, and it's time for us to stand up. Those everyday people who have been working in it, who've been in the trenches, it's time for us to stand up and get our boots on and start walking.
That's what's up. Brother Rich, Richard, Star Trek Rich has been putting AlishaShelton.com in the chat. Also, your Facebook page. If you guys want to know more about your platforms and things like that, then go ahead and click on those and check that out. And what we try to do around here too is put our money where our mouth is. So we got to be the kind of individuals that mobilize, and we know that your run is up against other people running that have a lot more dollars. How have you been able to cope with that? How's the campaign been going as far as that's concerned, as far as fundraising is concerned?
Right.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is the hardest thing for an everyday person, right? To learn how to fundraise on a national level. And I think about it all the time. One thing I'm constantly reminded of is we are able to break through in any environment, right? We spend our entire life growing. You go to kindergarten, you learn speech, you learn how to write, right? And so this is no different. You learn how to connect and how to fundraise and how to talk about your campaign so that you can raise the dollars that you need to get out here and get your message out, as well as listen to the individuals in the district. So what we have been doing is connecting with people. We've had conversations with members of Congress, specifically Black women, since Black women are the lowest on the totem pole, Black women candidates, when it comes to donors giving them money. So for some reason, we can go back and dissect it. And I think it's the system that what we learned and we're trained, right? That a typical politician looks like the older white male. So we are still trying to change that system. But I've gotten some really great advice from representatives like Lauren Underwood up in Illinois and Representative Gwen Moore, who has been able to tell us exactly what we need to do to take our campaign to that level. And so one thing that I know that I love about where I grew up and the churches that I attended in this district is that we still find a way to fundraise. It's just on a local level, right? It's a little bit smaller. So if your church ever sold those popcorn balls, or, if there was a building fund and you guys had dinners or catfish dinners and everybody came together, that's the type of community that we know how to connect with, right? And that's not wrong. That's still what we're doing. We're building that up. So every dollar counts. $5 a month, $10 a month on a reoccurring donation is super, super helpful. So we've been learning to take it to the next level, and I'm excited at the steps that we're climbing to get there.
That's what's up. Appreciate that. Mama God in the chat says, I just sent a link on my FB page, my Facebook page also, and invited all to jump in now to listen in. We are at war, so we need to be informed firsthand. Yeah, appreciate you reminding me to let people know that too. If you're on Facebook, please share the show, share it on your page so that we can get more people on. Most definitely. We really appreciate that. Christy Knorr says, yes, she needs more funds. Alisha is way underfunded. Vargas and Bacon have a lot more work to work with. Okay, yeah, yeah,
Well, if you think
up against Don Bacon.
if you think about it, so sorry, Paul. If you think about it, right, we are going up against an establishment. There is typically, right, a structure, almost like a template or a blueprint that individuals have made where they say, if you run for this office, you have to climb this level, right, and start here and then go here and then go here, and then they will invest in you. Well, that's not typically that's not the blueprint anymore, right? We're changing that. And we've heard individuals say they don't want to see that anymore. And so we are in this process of individuals changing that up. And we are looking for people who are finally ready for a real person, someone who has worked hard all their life, who actually has lived under these laws and has experience with it to go into Congress and make the changes. So when Kellogg's was protesting, I was able to relate to everything that they were talking about. And it turns out I worked with the union president, like, I don't even know how long, I don't even want to say how long ago that was, but back right at Kellogg's. And it was very disheartening to see that some of the same issues, they were dealing with them here in 2021 and 2022. So shout out to all of our union members. My mom is a union person, and I have always learned that the best way to help people is to help them mobilize. So that is exactly what we need to get out here and do. I have an acronym that I tell myself all the time, right? And it's work, because we always have to go to work. But I think about the W is wages. We need to make sure that we have livable wages in every job. It's not $15 an hour is amazing. I think that will be easy for us to get there federally, but I'm also ready to have a study where every 2 years, right, we look at what is happening, what's the growth that's happening, and where do we need to be, and let's change that every 2 years. And then the O stands for off. We need unlimited PTO. People need mental health days. It is so much going on in this pandemic with teachers, with doctors, right? With grocery workers, with our frontline workers. People need unlimited PTO. And studies also show those who have unlimited PTO actually take less time off. So it is time for us to do that. R is for repayment. We need to ensure that there is a program to repay everyone's student loans, not just people who are doctors, right? Not just nurses. I've worked in federally qualified health centers. I've worked in a hospital. One thing that I always was disappointed with is doctors, dentists, therapists, nurses. They can get their loans repaid through something called a HRSA program. What about the sanitation workers? What about the people who answer the phone, the administrative individuals, right? What about the people who are working in the cafeteria? Why can't they have access to the same opportunities? It's time for us to do that. And then K stands for keep a union. That is the best way for us to have representation, is working with the people. Union jobs have better pay, have better time off, but if we have unlimited PTO, we don't have to worry about that, and better beds. So I put that out there because we need to think on a global level. We need to think at a higher level, and I'm ready to take us there.
Hear that. Two questions come top of mind, and one of them I'm going to read Von Chapman's question in the chat.
Yep.
One of them has to do with housing. Of course, we talk about this a lot here, and also the second one, after we talk about the housing thing, where do you stand on childcare and what's needed as far as childcare and support for childcare, especially young children? What's needed there. In the chat, Von Chapman says, good morning. My question for Ms. Shelton and Chris Bowling later on: affordable housing excuse me, appears to be the current buzz phrase when it comes to spending taxpayer monies. It would appear that if the powers that be can redefine where and what a blighted area is, they should surely be able to define what affordable is. Without a definition of affordable housing, they can't be held accountable. Or is that the point? Clearly, when you factor in restrictive covenants as defined by the builder owners, affordable housing will not be for those for whom it was intended, or for those who need housing the most. Are juvenile justice centers and prisons the new affordable housing for those that can't afford restrictive covenants? That's a cold question there. What do you think about that?
Ooh. Oh, who was the person who had that question?
That was Brother Von Chapman.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you are speaking. Okay. So first off, we all know about the school to prison pipeline, and that's something that is constantly, it has not changed. We need to do better. We don't even support incarcerated individuals. They lose their voting rights when if they have a felony, they can't get it back until they're off papers. And so we can talk about that, and I can go on to that for days, but let me jump to the question. They are not defining what affordable healthcare is because they don't even know what we need to survive, right? We have not had increases in minimum wage. We have not had access to healthcare services. That needs to change. Affordable healthcare, affordable housing should be everyone who is working, everyone who is living in a district, living in a state, living in a city should be able to find housing that they can pay for, period. Whatever you're working, if you are working, even if you're self-employed, you should be able to find housing that you can afford. If you cannot find housing out there that you can afford, the issue is not your job. It is us. It is the government. It is individuals not making sure that we are supporting the tenants, that we are not giving them enough options. So the very, very first thing that we need to do is listen to the people in the community and stop allowing individuals to come in and bring businesses or new apartment buildings that there's not even a need for in that neighborhood. We need to make sure that we open up our programs. And let's talk about this, because my mom was on Section 8, right? Like, I grew up in using the programs through Omaha Housing Authority, and they're simply not enough. And now expenses have increased drastically from when my mom might have been utilizing those services 20 years ago. I once was an employment first worker. The payment for ADC has not increased since I was doing that job. And prior to that, it had not increased. So the very first thing that we have to do is get people like us who understand what housing actually is in positions to make the changes and do something about it. That is the thing that I firmly believe that we have to change. Because if you are not living in this system, if you don't see it and understand what it's like to have these Section 8 inspections, to have somebody have to call time and time and time again trying to get through. We just had that happen with Habitat for Humanity, people trying to get housing through them. So we need more sustainable, actual, realistic programs where somebody doesn't have to just dial on a phone to get through. No, because you live in this neighborhood, we are going to help you because you deserve housing, period. We need a realistic program. We have a housing crisis on our hands. It is not benefiting the tenants. It is benefiting the landlords, and it is not helpful in our community. There was another part to that question that I really wanted to speak to, other than housing. There was something else, right?
Yeah, he was talking about
blighted areas and TIF.
Yeah, right. TIF funds, blighted areas.
Oh my gosh, there's so much. There's so much. We need we need more restrictions. How amazing would it be if you were not able to utilize TIF funds until you actually had conversations with people in the community? What if we had to have a minimum like 4 meetings, right? Where you gave opportunities to people in that community to come and give their feedback on what you were planning to do with those funds. We need to streamline a better process that has the people in mind. People-focused processes, people-focused policies is what it's going to take for us to get to the next level. And I see the chat is moving, so I'm sure that there's more questions, but hopefully that that puts you in the mind frame of where I'm trying to go with that.
Yeah. Also, in Brother Chapman's, what I was looking for was when he talked about restrictive covenants. So it's clearly when you factor in restrictive covenants, it's defined by the builder owners. Affordable housing will not be for those for whom it was intended, or for those who need housing the most. Do you know much about restrictive covenants?
So here's the thing. Omaha was built on, I live in an SID, Sanitation Improvement District, which basically means that, and this is how Omaha was built, right? They have little areas that they create, and they're not brought into the city until these areas, which are kind of like subdivisions, start making money. And when they start making money and they don't have debt, then they can come into the city and then you can vote. And we have many of them all over. And that is one of the biggest issues that stands out. So when we have restrictive covenants, that's the biggest thing that I think about, right? They're trying to keep us out for a reason, and there's much work that needs to be done to change that.
I think Precious McKesson was talking about this at one point, that Winninghoff area, Bennington, those some of those areas that a whole lot of us are in. That's your area?
Yeah.
Well, there was something going around that was saying Stother didn't want that because she'd probably be voted out if everybody in those areas was able to vote.
Yeah,
absolutely, absolutely.
And
diverse.
Just so I looked it up, a restrictive covenant is an agreement you make with the housing authority that limits the way you can use a property. Restrictive covenants are general rules that members of your HOA vote on that all homeowners living in the area must follow.
Right, but those covenants come from the people who built. So this sanitation improvement district that I am in the Glenmore subdivision, right? And I'm on the HOA board. And so these covenants came from who? The person who was the builder. Right? Who gave us all of these recommendations and said, this is what you're going to do. And then we keep following them. It's a catch-22. It's just a system that is not working for us. So yeah,
I hear that. Just a couple more things in the chat. Miss Erica Phil says that means a parent with one child still gets $360 a month. Remember, there's a 2-year wait list for Section 8, so children are evicted regularly. And that kind of leads us into my next question. First of all, I just want to let people know it's 8:06 if you're keeping track of time. You're now in the second hour of First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich. We are on the line with Alisha Shelton, who is one of my favorite people in the world. The cheerleader for life is what I call her. And she's here right now talking about her run for Congress. Really, really appreciate that. We want to encourage people to, not just listen to these things, but we're here to get people in seats. So if you want to donate to her campaign, we got her website in the chat. Go ahead and click that, and anything helps. $5, $10, reoccurring. You know how we do. The same way that we're helping ourselves and helping each other, we want to help her as well. So let's put our money where our mouth is and support her campaign. And that she needs all the help she can get because she's running up against Bacon's, and apparently Darth Vader is running now. And then another friend of First Sky Omaha, Tony Vargas. He's a friend of First Sky Omaha too. He does have a lot more resources and he's running as well. And we hope to get a lot more coordination going on in our group. So that we can either help everybody or help everybody kind of get together as one and help push a cause. And everybody has reasons for running and knowing that they can help and with the skills that they have. So I just love that we're back here talking about it and coordinating that and everything else. So really appreciate you. You ran for something before, didn't you?
Yes, I ran for U.S. Senate in 2020. Okay. Yeah, right. and even then, I worked on a reservation, Winnebago, for 4 years, and up in Winnebago, Nebraska, and I learned a lot, especially, look, when I got there, the healthcare, what was going on in that hospital, you would not have believed it. It should have been an epidemic. There were individuals that were dying from complications to diabetes, losing their eyesight, losing limbs. And then if you have a diabetic patient who has a limb cut off, well, if you know anyone who is diabetic, those wounds don't heal the same. So then they have to start going to wound care, right? And then that puts them at more risk. So we were having so many deaths a week. And if you know anything about American Indians or the Native American culture, when someone dies, it's a big deal. Everything in the area stops, right?
Wow.
So what the tribe learned at the time, the government was doing something called AB staffing, where they were sending providers there for 90 days, and then that provider was not coming back. So somebody would tell me, well, they never told me I was diabetic, or this person said I was, but then I didn't. God. Right? So we started collaborating with the diabetic nurses, and if someone was diabetic, they would see mental health. We built out a program to support them. And then I was fortunate to work with the tribe as they bought the hospital from the government. and now they are thriving. And so, and just seeing the process and stakeholders and people who want to protect their investment and what happened as the tribe did this. I don't know if there's been another tribe that has done this, but the people in Winnebago, Nebraska are so dedicated, just like I'm sure probably any reservation is, but they were so committed to this. It took several years for this process to happen. And now that it has occurred, the people that live on the reservation are much better off with a hospital where they can trust the leadership and what's happening.
Wow. That is incredible.
Trusted leadership goes a long way, but yeah, it's also doing for self goes a long way. So we definitely have to have the people that are a part of self, a part of the community, a part of where you come from, in the positions of power that get it. Now, no more billionaires, that are out of touch with reality, but people who understand what's going on. And I did want to speak to kind of what you alluded to as far as the mental health aspect of what it is that you do. I do understand that is your profession. Your name actually came up a couple times last episode as we had our mental health episode. We asked the listeners about African American, mental health practitioners in the area, and a lot of people brought your name up. So I'm kind of curious, how is that informing, what you hope to do in Congress?
Oh man, everything that I cannot bring mental health with me, right? Everything that I do, period, is surrounded by mental health. So, as someone who has been living in this district, as someone who has been trained to work with trauma, every policy, every time that I go anywhere in a public, in a grocery store, I am concerned with mental health. This pandemic has been going on for some time. And any policy that I create, I make sure that I bring a mental health lens to it, because I have no way to not do that, right? That is just the person who I am, but that is what we need. We need to have policies with people in mind. And I have never, while I've been doing this campaign, I see a small amount of clients. I have a small caseload that I maintain, because when you find a therapist that understands trauma-informed care, it is extremely uncomfortable for someone to stop working with that therapist and have to start with a new therapist, right? Well, I'm now receiving calls. Every day I get a call from someone with someone who might be having suicidal thoughts, someone who, thought that they were fine, and all of a sudden now they are not, and they don't know how to support this individual. I have never seen this amount of people in pain in the entire time that I have been doing mental health services. And so I just want to simply say that, because someone has a condition, you cannot tell with mental health. It's not like you have the flu and somebody looks sick, right? The people who have depression are smiling in your face every day. They are telling you that they're okay. And it takes having conversations about mental health to say, what do you do for your mental health? Because I need some tips on what I should do for you guys to actually start that conversation. We need to talk about it more. And so what I want to say is that, oh my gosh, if you are out here hurting, if you need support, there are so many services for you. We even have tip lines in Nebraska. We have so much information that you can benefit from. And NAMI is a really great, they have a wealth of resources. And so I wish that I could type in, put information out there as fast as I can talk. But we have the Nebraska Family Helpline. And if you look that up, they are really amazing. They are trained therapists 24/7, and they can give you information on how to support you, whatever the problem is that you are dealing with or facing. It doesn't matter. They will connect you to resources. So please consider reaching out and having conversations. And if you are, if you are someone who's connected to another person, doesn't matter who it is, your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, you're working with someone, please just make sure that you think about having a conversation more frequently than not about mental health and how people are managing in this pandemic.
Hear that. We're coming up on 1 more minute here, and just want to again thank you for joining us and coming on. Just want to jump in the chat real quick. I put relocated your box. Leah Margolis in the house. Good morning. Says Can't wait to meet you. Thank you again for coming to the Swing Left and come on my podcast. Your voice is needed. All right, Miss Margolis, I didn't know you had a podcast, and now we got to check another podcast out. That's what's up. And Christy Norris says we couldn't see your face. The words were scrolling, so they wanted to see your beautiful face. So I put your box up top there. Brother Muhammad says a reservation continue to be blighted. Conteri Himimpeto has some is saying, I kid you not, one of the podiatrists gave people hepatitis by using dirty instruments at that IHS.
They did. They
Man.
did. She's telling the truth. That was the worst thing ever. They were not cleaning their instruments, and letters had to go out. And you know what's so sad? The tribe was already in the process of set. We already had committees in place to try to purchase the hospital. And anywhere else, if that would have happened, I'm telling you, not on a reservation, it would have made national news.
Yeah.
Made national news. So absolutely, I forgot about. How could I forget about that? That was horrible.
She said, let me see. The rest of her comment there was, she says, things are, wait, I'm losing it. Things got a lot better once the tribe took over, but I'll always be grateful to Alisha for serving our people. That's what's up. Pinagigi I think that's how to say that. That's what's up, man. Yeah, we really, we love that you've been out there doing the work. You know, from what I know and from what I understand, and if you've ran before, you know what the race entails. So the fact that you're back out here again, you know, you got some strong reasons for being here. We really appreciate it. 8:16 right now. Before we let you go, we got to ask you a question. That's a very, very important question. Sure. It's a very important question. So please give us your honest, complete answer on this one. Where are the best wings in Omaha?
She wasn't ready.
Okay, I wasn't ready, but you know what? You guys are not going to like this answer. I don't really eat wings.
Okay.
That's okay. That's all right.
So listen, I grew up as a vegetarian. The first time that I ate meat was when my parents divorced and when we were in Nebraska. And so I'm really weird. I am one of those people who does the wings that's like the chicken nugget that people say aren't really wings. Yeah, I don't even eat them enough to know like what they're called. And so I don't.
Well, that's a pick. That's a pick. We've had people on here that are vegans and vegetarians, and they say vegan wings, you know, seitan wings and stuff like that. So those are a pick just right along the rest of them. That's what you eat, then that's what's good. That's what's up.
All right. Well, thank you for giving me a pass on the wing question, and it's been really great talking with everyone. Please check out my website, AlishaShelton.com. You can find me on social media at AK Shelton everywhere. And I look forward to continuing this conversation.
We look forward to having you again. Thanks for joining us, and we'll definitely have you back soon.
Yes, best of luck on the campaign trail.
Thank you. And you all make sure that you are taking care of your mental health as you do this show as well, and talk with individuals and read, through the comments. I appreciate you all being a light and starting this here in Omaha. I've listened from time to time, and just please also make sure that you're drinking your water, sleeping when you need to, and taking time for you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I'll definitely need to work on it, so I will.
Yes.
Appreciate you very much. All right. Well, you have a good rest of your day, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Self-love is the best love, y'all.
She's a cheerleader for life. We love us some Alisha Shelton. Thank you very much. We're going to take a quick break. We do have another guest coming in here pretty soon, but we're going to jump to a story real quick before that happens. So thank you, everybody who chimed into the chat, had questions for Alisha. And again, let's put our money where our mouth is. She needs help with her campaign. Let's see what we can do. Every little bit helps. And the more of us that give, the better. She's up against some heavy hitters. So, she is great, Pops. You're right. Stay tuned. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. We'll be right back. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich. We got Chris Bowling from The Reader in the house coming up next. Stay tuned. Yep. First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich.
Hey.
Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate everybody who came in, and I had questions for Alisha Shelton. If you missed that, you can always go back in time on Facebook and grab the latest episode and rewatch all the parts of it if you're coming in and out. If you're just joining us again, it is 8:20 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, you're listening to First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich, and and all of you, the chat chimers. So definitely share the show so we can have more people on and have more people in the conversation. I see some Night Owl has some of the best wings. Okay. All right, I see you, Leah Margolis. We'll have to see what's happening. They do got some good ones. So it was a not very important question for us in the beginning, but it's turned into be one of these things where it's like everybody has a very good answer and a very good opinion on this, and it's starting to be a thing right now. So now people have actually called me up like, where are the best wings at? I know that you're taking a survey. So anyway, yeah, man, hey,
the people want to know.
People want to know. We'll send all your thanks and hellos and she's greats over to Alisha as well. She definitely had a chance to look at the chat too. Was very impressed with the chat as well. So again, everybody really appreciate you. Thank you very much. Katie L is a name I haven't seen in the chat before. Our community is beyond lucky to have Alisha celebrating her greatness. That's what's up.
Hey,
a lot of love.
Welcome to you.
Welcome. 8:22, as we stated, if you're keeping track of time, you got somewhere to be by 9 o'clock. Just letting you know it's 8:22 right now. Before we get to our next guest, who is from the Reader, it's a journalist named Chris Bowling that's coming on. We're going to jump into a little discussion real quick. Buddy, what's that we want to lay on the people real quick? We can kind of jump into here.
Yeah, just a quick heads up. I got little mama right here next to me, so bear with me, y'all. Apologize.
Well, let's ask little mama what's the next article.
What do you think? What do you think? But on a serious note, I definitely want to dive into the affordable housing question that Brother Vaughn Chapman brought up because, again, a lot of times when we talk about affordable housing, it's always in the realm of getting into the house. But even once you get into the house, can you keep it? Again, getting something is one thing, but actually maintaining and keeping that thing is a whole other conversation. And this family found out the hard way. Maria Kendall apparently found her home that she was living in on Zillow posted for sale. And as a response, she called her sister, who's with her mother in California. And when she asked her mom when she decided to sell the house, she received a, "What are you talking about?" What are you talking about? Yeah, she's right there.
Well, mama's like, "What are you talking about?"
Man. Again, if any of you are familiar with Zillow, it is a property management website. Is a real estate website. Has houses for sale and rent and things like that. But I don't know how I'll respond if the house that I was currently living in didn't know it was for sale popped up on Zillow.
Okay, so what you're saying is the parents, they had no intention of selling their house. They had no idea their house was on the market. Their daughter just happened to come across it in Zillow and was like, "Y'all selling your house?"
Yep. And again, the parents had no idea what she was talking about. And yet there was listed for sale on the website. Larry Colton, who was Maria's boyfriend, again, the couple that lived in the house, says if she wouldn't have seen it on Zillow, who knows? Actually turns out that someone else took control of the house through an unfamiliar property law called a quiet title law. According to experts, the quiet title law is written and includes vague language that defines how someone can argue that a property belongs to them. Another is the way people are notified or apparently not notified that there is a dispute involving ownership of the property. Many people file quiet title actions to resolve boundary disputes or to resolve who owns property after someone dies. But some worry that problems in the law can result in the exploitation of homeowners, particularly in communities like Marshalltown, where many residents are immigrants or don't speak fluent English, which is the case of Maria Kendall, who is, second generation Mexican immigrant. Again, her mother, who owns the house, does not speak English. So a lot of residents, a lot of community members can fall victim to this law. And apparently, quiet law petitions, you can file a petition to go to court. And when someone goes to court for a quiet title petition, they must prove that they have an interest in the property. Now, however, the problem is the law doesn't define exactly what that interest has to look like. And real estate experts are worried that law can be exploited.
Yeah, my little mama don't like that. We don't like that either. That's
No, not at all. Not at all.
and this is not just particular to the state. It's something that's all around the country. Because it's a national law, right?
Yes, but it's most prevalent in the Midwest.
So you don't even know that somebody could be disputing your ownership of your spot and put in a claim, and then if you ain't paying attention, does it
poof?
Miss Erica Felt in the chat says, in other cities, Zillow is full of scam rentals, people not renting their house, but scammers putting it on there and collecting application fees. In Vegas, about 5 years ago, there were even scamming sales on Zillow.
Yeah, that's a big. I mean, I was kind of explaining that to you, Paul, the other day when we were talking, offline. That's a big thing down here in Atlanta. That is a big thing here in Atlanta. A lot of property management frauds, a lot of tenant, fraud. We've in the process of us looking for houses and looking for an area to stay. We came across several different apps and instances where we had to send in social security card and ID and take a picture and take a lock of hair and our fingerprint and do everything to prove
your mama's number, your mama address.
Man, so everything. Like, have to give all this information up just to even view the house, just to prove we are who we are, because there are instances of people setting up false viewings in houses and then having tenants actually, prospective tenants actually come to these properties and they're collecting application fees and things from these tenants, and they have no interest, no connection really to the property whatsoever.
So that's the fraud, but this thing is not a fraud. This thing is an actual law.
This is law. Yes. The quiet law requires a petitioner or the person who's arguing that they have the interest in the property to notify the most recent owner of the house of what's happening. However, if the petitioner says the most recent owner can't be found, or if that person does not speak English, then their next route is publishing a notice of the quiet title in a newspaper of record. So again, they could, maybe send an email to an address that you haven't checked in 10, 12 years, or, call some number that you haven't had in several years. And that could be, I tried to find the owner. I couldn't find him. And next thing you know, your house is for sale in the newspaper.
This when I posted this in Friends of Sky Omaha, I posted it with a caption talking about laws, because what I've been learning this past year is like how greedy people will use laws for things, and what it is that they're doing. There's always some way to try to get over on people with stuff, and it's sickening to me that even exists, and it makes me not have a lot of respect for law, because people are using it for their own benefit, using it to hold down others, and it's just like you can't fight it all. It's like you got to look everywhere. Well, we got to scan the paper now every day to see if our house is listed in it. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
Like it's crazy. Sean McCarthy says the predatory economy on full display.
Yeah, law, as you said, laws are trash and tools for the greedy. And I can't necessarily say laws are trash. I do believe that we need laws. Like, laws are necessary in society. And I mean, there's laws of physics. Like, you can't live and exist without laws. But how they're used and who's overseeing the laws, yeah, that's definitely something.
I don't know, man. I'm moving closer to anarchy.
Oh man, no, I can't go there with you. I can't go there with you.
I tell you what, we have like I said, once I really realized like how our laws are crafted and the reasons why, and how deeply rooted they are in racism, which is what critical race theory is all about. The more I see more corrupt laws and laws that work against people, than I see laws that are helping. it's getting to that point where I'm feeling like it's at least getting halfway. So, I'm understanding about some other theories and the reasons why those theories exist. Because, like, if people just going to use laws to hurt people all the time, then why would you have any? Then how can you have any respect for law? Period. Most of the laws we deal with every day have to do with oppressing us some kind of way. That's when we deal with the law. That's mostly what we deal with.
Yeah, how it's being used to oppress.
How it's being used to oppress. So, right. I'm not there yet, but right now I'm at. Let's put people in the seats that can put some sensible laws out there, and get people out that are using laws to hurt people, and all that type of stuff. I mean, what are you gonna do?
And oversight goes a long way, and also trying to get the people. I mean, there's a lot of people who don't vote. There's a lot of people who don't, take the action. And we've gone over the reasons why multiple times. But there is something to be said about the average everyday person taking responsibility and stepping up and, being active in this whole political society. So, you can't just lump it on, hey, these politicians only get away with it because ain't nobody watching.
That's right. Ron Chapman says oversight for these laws after they become laws is missing. Kimber Snipe says this is why we need lawmakers who understand law and know how to legislate, especially with the state of the country today.
Yeah.
Pop says there are many good laws and many bad laws. The only way the common man can help get rid of those bad laws is through jury nullification. Excuse me. Please learn about it. I remember Pop's talking about jury nullification a while back. Yeah, we need to revisit that for sure. I appreciate the reminder there, Pops. Area 402 says, I love when you guys disagree, two people on the same side communicating their differences. Yeah, that's kind of what we're all here for sure, man. I'm thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Maybe we do need to see more examples of that. Chrissy Nora says, yes, it's time for a revolution. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It will be televised this time too. Katie L says, greed drives too many influential laws, and the level of oppression has me stepping back and questioning a lot. Personal accountability is important too. Yeah. I like that a lot. I think we've got a good start on this subject, and these are some subjects that are going to be evergreen for us, and we'll keep talking about for sure. In the meantime, we're a couple minutes late, and we got our guests waiting, so we're going to go ahead and jump in. It's 8:32 right now, if you believe in the concept of time, if you're keeping track, and it is now time for our guest from the Reader, Chris Baby Boy Bolin.
Hey, that's me. Hey, what's going on? Up, man? You said you weren't gonna bring it up. Come on now.
I said no such a thing. You know me by now.
Yeah, actually, no. Yeah, you actually told me specifically you weren't gonna bring it up. So
we told you to prepare yourself, man.
I know.
Hey, that's cool. One of our good friends from the Reader, man. This cat is a brilliant journalist. He's a deep dive cat. He digs in. He puts in the work. He makes the hard phone calls. He does all that stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Baby Boy Bolin. What's going on, my man?
Oh my God, I like Ariel's 402 better. Chris the Music Man Bolin.
There you go.
Hey, works for me.
Man.
Yeah, man. How's it going? How's life treating you, man?
Dude, I'm feeling great. Hold on, I gotta just show off the shirt real quick.
Go ahead. Go Bengals.
Go.
I already know.
Yes.
Go Bengals.
Rams.
Yeah, for everyone that doesn't know, I am from Cincinnati,
LA,
not just a bandwagon fan. I've been through this for like forever, so let's go. I'm excited. About to bust out the chili, the hot dogs, everything. So it's gonna be a good time.
I hope you do have a party when you lose. It's all about LA, baby. Rams.
Hey, come on.
Oh man,
it's good to see you though, man. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, just really excited to be here. Excited to talk about that story that I did.
It's a doozy, like you said.
It is.
Yeah. It was a lot of research.
No, man, Chris is a maniac when it comes to the work, man. He's definitely putting in the work and going through, leaving no stone unturned when it comes to get into the nitty gritty of the stories, and that's why we always enjoy talking to you, man. Definitely appreciate you for coming in. And again, we've been talking about this Disinvested series, kind of your brainchild, if I'm not mistaken. That is a little bit. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, it's all of us at the Reader, I think. But I mean, I think I talked about it last time. But covering a lot of this stuff all the time, feeling like you're jumping around. You don't really have like your blinders on and focusing on the big picture. And so, yeah, that's what we're trying to do here. And so, yeah.
And it's working out, zeroing in on a few things. And as you mentioned, you have what now? Is this like the second or third installment in the series now?
I guess you would say second, probably. I mean, so Bridget also had a story come out, our education reporter. So I guess you would say second.
Okay, got it going. But what is the focus of this one? What do you?
Well, so for my story, so my beat is housing, and so I wanted to have like the first really big story be about, sort of trying to go back and understand a little bit of the history, but not just telling a like a historical piece, but like how things that happened in the past are really impacting what we're dealing with today. And I mean, anyone who lives in Omaha knows that development is probably like one of the biggest, drivers of change I mean, probably in any city, but you think about, suburban development, questions about transparency, especially in, downtown developments like the library. So, there's just things at play that are not just, coincidence that like, oh, this is why this happened, blah, 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 blah. No, it's a little bit more designed than that. And so, yeah, going into this story, I had no idea about a lot of this stuff, and it was very eye-opening to research it and then write it down.
So, do us a favor, give us a little overview of the if you can do it in a few sentences, of a little overview of the subject of this particular article. We're gonna press everybody to go and read it, to go ahead and get the paper and check out the article, because we are speaking in depth about a lot of these things that he wrote. But give us a little overall for the people that haven't read it yet.
Yeah, I mean, basically, it's just the story of development in Omaha and how it's impacting, modern problems. So, the title of the series is Disinvested. So it's showing what kind of communities we did invest in, whether that's, time, money, whatever, and then what communities we sort of left behind. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of it. I mean, and it's divided along, socioeconomic and especially racial lines, where you have all these western suburbs where you have concentrations of wealth and white people, where kids are going to do a lot better in school, have a lot better of an opportunity in life. And then you have lots of neighborhoods on the east side, which, haven't seen that level of investment, where structures are deteriorating and where, more poor and people of color live. And now, obviously, we're declaring lots of these neighborhoods blighted and, bringing in different developments and things like that. And so, and yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Just looking at the story of development. I mean, there's a key component in the development of, west of 72nd, but I don't know if you guys want to like break that down and talk about it a little bit more.
Yeah, what is it? What is it?
Okay. So, in 1949, after World War II, there was like this push where white people wanted to move out west, and move out into the suburbs. I mean, this happened all over the United States. Omaha's not unique in that at all. What is unique is that when people started moving out into, Western Omaha, the city did not have really the money to extend the sewer networks, like the roads, all this stuff. So people were building like these patchwork systems like that were existing on septic tanks and stuff like that, which is not very sustainable. So the Nebraska legislature in 1949 created this thing called sanitary and improvement districts, which allows for developers to create small governmental bodies of like 3-5 people, something like that, who can access no interest government bonds so that they can finance building infrastructure in their neighborhoods. So, it sounds like a decent idea. Like, if the cities can't do it, let these guys do it. The problem is that, like you guys kind of talked about with greed and how people are going to manipulate laws, they built neighborhoods that were, those kind of upper middle class, like what you imagine when you think of like suburban like neighborhoods. And so they're getting the most. Yeah, and then what they do is they then levy higher property taxes on residents, And then eventually, once their sort of situation becomes financially viable enough, I'm like really simplifying it, but the city will then usually come in and annex the area. And that's one of the biggest drivers of how, we've extended outward westward. So, yeah. And then the real rub of it is that then any debt that the SID, the Sanitary Improvement District, has, that is lumped into the city's debt. So then you essentially have people who are getting left behind in East Omaha covering the debt of people moving out in West Omaha. And so yeah, and I mean it's become a little bit more regulated since the old days when like people were. I mean, there was examples of like neighborhoods building country clubs and pools and all this stuff, and so it's not quite that bad anymore, but it's still like it's still very, very, very much a huge driver of development. And yeah, so that is one of the biggest things.
That $600,000 lake they're trying to build out there, to me, is along those same lines.
Yeah. I mean,
600
that's
million.
a totally different thing. That's ARPA and whatever. But yeah, it's crazy.
This is that. I'm glad you broke that down. This is the first time that I ever really fully understood that. So we had just talked about people in what did you call those areas?
SIDs.
Right. And we just were talking about that and have some people here in the chat, friends of Sky Omaha, that live in those areas. And Precious McKesson said a few months back that she kind of feels like the mayor who was doing a whole lot of annexing at the time didn't want to annex some of these areas like Winninghoff, the Bennington area, because if there's many of us in there that we would vote her out if she hurried up and annexed those. So that's how I got introduced to this thing. But hearing this back history about how the movement, is that the city didn't have resources in order to do sanitation and everything else, and so that's why these things existed. Makes a whole lot of sense. Why we're at the point now, places like Winninghoff, that Bennington area, I know they make enough money now to be annexed in, but they're not. So that causes me to think that some of the things that Precious was talking about may be correct, because now it's a political situation. Why you would annex a part of town and why you wouldn't, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, I think, like I said, I kind of really simplified it. There's a lot of things that are going to go into it, and you don't. It's not just SIDs that are annexed. I mean, there's lots of things that are annexed. It's just if you look at the list of SIDs, the number that have been there's way more that have been annexed in than still exist today. So that's kind of what I imagine is like the end goal of their existence.
Right. Makes sense. Von Chapman in the chat says, again, you can't build affordable housing if you can't define exactly what affordable housing is. Who does it benefit? Is it another form of reeling? Interesting. Von Chapman also says, taxation without representation. A very interesting question. We've been talking about a lot of that going on for sure. So Kimber and Miss Snipes asked a question: how does the land bank or land real utilization commission come into play, or do they? Do you have you know about that?
Yeah, I don't know. My guess would be that they don't, because this is basically undeveloped land out west. Typically, I mean, it's beyond the city limits, so it's basically just developers coming in and being like, yeah, we want to build like a neighborhood here or whatever. So I doubt the land bank. I don't really know much about the land reutilization committee, but that would be my guess.
Okay. What's next as far as this the disinvested series is concerned? Like what are you guys tackling next on this?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a long list of stories. So the next one I have coming up, this one was a pretty heavily researched one. So I kind of wanted to go with something a little bit more like I'm not light, but just not as give people something like a little bit of a break. So I profiled a guy who interesting. I was just reading Kimura's comment, but I profiled a guy who I basically wanted to understand some of the obstacles that people go through with becoming a homeowner if you're a low income person or a first time home buyer. So I found someone who worked with Family Housing Advisory Services and ended up being able to buy a home. And his is like a really good positive story. But for every like really good positive story, there's lots of people who work really hard. They do everything they're supposed to, and they still don't get they don't have that opportunity to buy a house, especially now because the housing market is so messed up and the cost of a home and the cost of a mortgage, the cost of rent is just fast. Is just quickly accelerating past like our living. Well, it's been beyond what our living wages already, but yeah, it's getting pretty crazy out there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's
ridiculous.
one story, but there's a whole list of them.
Well, we appreciate you continuing to dig deep on the housing thing because that's something that
Mhm.
we talk about very, very extensively here for sure. I like what brother Chapman says. We still we don't got a definition for affordable housing yet, and
Yeah,
and a way
right.
to get it. So
I mean,
Actually,
there are definitions. The city of Omaha just doesn't necessarily have one, but there are definitions of affordable housing. We just don't have one.
well, yeah, I saw you identified in the article that the city of Omaha specifically had been dealing with the actual specific term affordable housing. Looks like going back to '93, possibly even before that.
Yeah, well, no, definitely before that. It's just that was another really big part of it is that we sort of like talk about things in Omaha a lot, and there's lots of studies that happen, and there's lots of
studies.
people who get who get very upset about how much it's like overanalyzation or parallelization by overanalyzation, and so that was one of the things where people won't talk about like, oh, we need to invest in these communities and blah blah blah, and it sounds like this whole new conversation, but yeah, I was going through the History Nebraska like archives and found all this video donated to them by KETV, and there's a video of Lee Terry Sr., who is the father of the future Congressman Lee Terry from this area, on KETV in 1965, standing in front of like a dilapidated home, talking about a new fancy term called urban renewal and how they need to understand it and all this sort of stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. And so then fast forward, 1993, Omaha releases a master plan, and in the housing element of it, they talk a lot about affordable housing, the need to invest in housing stock for all income individuals, the need to reinvest in I don't remember the words they used, but basically like the east side, stopping the sprawl and really strengthening the urban core. And then I mean, I think we're doing that a lot now, and definitely there was like in the 70s and 80s definitely a real reinvestment in the downtown, but yeah, it's up for debate how much we really follow that or not. I mean, maybe that's not for me to say, but I think people could draw their own conclusions.
And with that, we're gonna say thanks for coming on, man, and I really
Yeah.
appreciate you digging deep.
Is that
on
already
this.
is already over? Dang.
Yeah, yeah, we're actually 3 minutes over.
Oh shoot! All right.
This is one of those things, man. We can keep talking. We can keep, it's an evergreen thing for us to talk about housing.
Yeah.
We have a lot of people in our chat that have been looking for housing, that were on the levels of buying housing, that just purchased houses. We talk about generational wealth here a lot. We talk about how that is, buying property is part of that. And we also have a lot of discussions about stuff like the land bank, and we all live in North and South Omaha, so where a lot of
Yeah.
those places are affected the most. So, like Miss Erica Felt says, I look forward to reading the article. I look forward to reading the next thing that you got coming too as well, because they're
Yeah.
all heavy.
And I do want to say, if anyone wants like has, because I am going to do a story about the land bank eventually. I'm just not exactly sure, but if anyone wants to reach out to me about that, hit me up, because I want to like learn more about it. I want to hear what you have to say. So yeah, I don't know if you guys want to just like put my like email in there, or I can just shout it out, whatever.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll see if I can type that in real quick. And we just put the link to the article there too for you guys to read online. What's your email address, Chris?
It's Chris, so CHRIS at thereader.com.
There you go.
And yeah, hit me up about whatever. If you got anything you want, us to do a story on, then I mean, transparency and development is definitely a very big one. So,
and we encourage you to subscribe to the Reader as well. Become a subscriber. Like I said, we just touched the surface of some of these things when we're talking, and in order to get to the real story and the deep dive, you definitely got to read the article. So definitely subscribe to the Reader as well. You will not be sorry if you do that, ladies and gentlemen. Chris, baby boy Bowling, once again, we appreciate you coming back, my man.
Of course, anytime.
We'll have you back again soon.
All right.
All right. Have a good one.
All right. See you guys later.
All right. Peace. We'll take a quick break. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Star Trek Rich. We'll be back with some tricky words of wisdom. Stay tuned. Chris, baby boy. that article, he's talking about that guy who he was following. That in his next article is the one he said he kept on calling me baby boy.
Yeah,
we were cracking up about that. So now that's stuck. Welcome back. It's 8:52 right now. If you're keeping track of time, it's almost 9:00. You listen to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. On his way out, he was saying we didn't have time, but he wanted to mention, this thing about affordable housing is in the news all the time. It's in the news right now. Dave Chappelle is now is under fire right now for threatening to pull out some investment in his area if they make affordable housing there. So, this is something that's not just not just happening to us, but it's all over the country, and it's been happening for a long time, man. If you live I lived in Hawaii for almost 10 years, and it's kind of the same thing. The cost of living out there is way too much for anybody who has a regular job, to the point where it's pushed actual Hawaiians off of the island.
Man.
So, affordable housing in places is a huge thing. It's supposed to be everywhere that is. If you work, if you like Alisha Shelton said, if you have a job, you should be able to pay your rent. You should be able to pay your rent, period, in. So anyway, I just want to thank Chris Bowling again for coming through, and subscribe to the Reader, please. That is definitely something that you should do. They're not just a culture magazine anymore. They're going deep dive. This is all about social justice for them as well. And they're one of the only organizations that's speaking out, and they're partners of ours. So subscribe to the Reader. And subscribe to us while you're at it as well. FirstSkyOmaha.com. Hit the donate button. Really appreciate that. Vaughn Chapman says affordable housing is a buzz phrase with no definition.
Definitely.
Especially not here in Nebraska. Right.
Right. But we got to continue to talk about housing in general. So, again, Locked Out in the Heartland. Again, the article by Chris Bowling out now. Latest installment in the Disinvested series. So, again, big shout out to Chris Bowling. For taking the time out to speak with us. And yeah, man, that Dave Chappelle story is pretty crazy, man. I was looking into that. And the fact that Dave, threatened to pull millions and millions of dollars in investments and businesses that he's a part of from out of actually it's a village that he lives in. It's not even like a city. It's like a real village that he lives in Ohio. And I was looking into that article because I was kind of curious as to why Dave was making these threats, because you think, okay, the whole point is they're going to build an affordable housing unit in the community. So why would people like Dave Chappelle be against it? And a lot of the things that they were saying, a lot of the reasons they were against it was, a hike in property taxes, kind of a mixed use. One person said, how do you, what type of tenants do you think this type of building will attract?
Mm.
And not that's say, you bring in these millionaires, you build these condos and these quote unquote, as Von Chapman just said, quote unquote affordable housing buildings. But who can really afford them? And they equipped with coffee shops and yoga shops and things like that. Who are you really trying to attract?
Well, that's the question, and I can imagine. I'm kind of holding back judgment on this one until I find out some more information on it. But it does kind of on the surface seem like Dave is tripping. But one of the alternative things they were talking about doing in there was building houses that started at $300,000 a housing tract.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, I mean, I know, bro, he could live anywhere, and he decided to go live way out somewhere in Ohio to get away from the urban sprawl, probably. You know what I'm saying? So
that again, he lives in a village. These are farmers. These are these are everyday people. So
a lot to it. And I also think there's something else. There's more to it because there's something suspect about the reason why they decided to build it there in that area in the first place. Not really used to the government deciding let's build some affordable housing here. That's not something that we're pushing for so hard on a grassroots level. I can't see the city just deciding we need this here right now for whatever reason in that particular area. So there's more to learn about this thing. But Dave was like, "You guys are looking like clowns right now. I will pull all my investment out."
Yeah. As Chrissy Kadur says, it's about the developer who wants to build the affordable housing being shady. She says, from understanding after reading more.
Interesting. Yeah. So there's definitely more to that for sure. But before we get out of here in the next 3 minutes, I guess if we got a hap or two.
Man. Oh, what's going
It's Friday too, man. We supposed to be having those extensive haps.
Yeah. I say we did pretty decent sticking to the clock today, though. I think
we tried. We tried.
Yeah.
What you got for the people, bro?
Man, there's several things going on. If you're looking for some entertainment coming up, the 2021 Omaha Entertainment and Arts Awards is going down Sunday, February 20th. Big shout out to them, another partner of ours. Again, honoring all of our performers and performances, local musicians, dancers, actors, poets, comedians, all of it, man. So again, big shout out to everyone nominated in this year's OEAA Awards, and also big shout out to the board and Maria Corpus and Ali Peeler and everybody involved with it. Big shout out to you.
Love that.
Also, a shout out to all of our Black-owned businesses out there. It is still quote-unquote Black History Month. We had Miss Itel Vital herself, Imani Murray, on the show a little earlier. So I don't know if she's still tuned in, but I definitely check her out over there on the Deuce. Again, Itel Vital. And there's actually a list out there of businesses and organizations to support here in this Black History Month. So we'll be posting that. And
get your juice on the Deuce.
Yeah, man. Support. That's pretty much all I got. Also, I do want to remind the people, give them kind of some marching orders, a call to action. Again, while we're talking about housing, talking about the need for housing, as we all recognize, there is a huge need for housing, and yet in the midst of that, Governor Ricketts is still refusing to take $120 million in federal rental assistance to assist families in need. And again, this isn't money that's going to the pockets of these families. They're going directly to landlords and property management companies, and yet Ricketts is still holding back. So again, if you would like to speak up on that, if you would like to speak out against this move, you can meet at the state capitol. That's actually today at 2:30 p.m. Again, at the state capitol. Tell Ricketts to accept and disperse the allotted funds for rental and mortgage assistance. Or if you can't make it to the state capitol today, there is a list of senators that you can email to apply some pressure on. So again, definitely reach out, get active. let's mobilize.
Let's do it. Please do that, y'all. This is one of my bragging points about our group is that we mobilize. So this is something that right now we definitely need to do. I wasn't even aware that that you could go ahead and say, nah, Pete, take this money. So the fact that people are stepping up doing that, got to do it. So that's what's up. We just put that in the chat. With that, we're gonna get out of here. It's 9:00. Buddy, you got some words for the people?
Man, big shout out to Alisha Shelton running for Congress District 2. Again, check her out, AlishaShelton.com. That's ALISHA Shelton.com. Again, for more information on her campaign. Also, big shout out to Chris Baby Boy Bolin from The Reader for taking the time out of his busy schedule to speak with us. Again, Disinvested, the series out now. Check it out. Read on the issues, educate yourselves, tell a friend to tell a friend. The Reader that gets down.
There you go. Hey, in the chat, Miss Erica Felt says, great way to wrap up the week. Thank you for information to move forward. Stagnant water stinks. Keep your space and drink water. Be good to yourselves. Appreciate that. Pop says, as always, a phenomenal show. Thank you, squad. Love you all, First Sky fam. Welcome back, Pops. Thank you. I'm glad you're feeling better. Tamika Johnson says, great show, great info all week. Appreciate that. Von Chapman says, affordable housing will never happen as long as Ricketts is governor of Nebraska. Vote. That's right. Barrel blood. Kimura Snipes says, there's also a lot of legislation on the floor at the unicameral today around affordable housing. Definitely check that out if you have time. If you're off and you can peep the free channel, go check them out. Thank you very much for everybody who's joined us on the chat. We really appreciate everybody. What's up, Zane? How you doing, buddy?
Hey,
he says good show. So I appreciate you approving of the show. Thank you very much. And Brother Rich went ahead and put in a link to that article there. So at the Reader. So definitely check that out. Read that. We're going to be discussing this more in the weeks to come for sure. Just to get out of here, I want to give thanks to the Omaha tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. Thanks to our elders for allowing us to speak before them. And thanks to Star Trek Rich and the Weberized crew for allowing us to be here at the beautiful Weberized studios. You got podcast ideas, then please check out Weberized.com. Want to give thanks to Buddy and his family allowing us to be in the living room today, and really appreciate everybody who is in the chat as well, and everybody who is a reoccurring member or sponsor of the station as well. Every little bit helps. So when we're asking for good reason. If you want to become a member or a sponsor of the station here, then please go to firstsky.omaha.com, hit the donate button. We're also asking you to become a Reader subscriber, and we're also asking you to help Alisha Shelton's campaign out. Those if you got $15, break them up, break the fives up, and hit them three things right there if you would. So really appreciate everybody who is in here, and like I said, we do not do this without you. This is a conversation that we have with you, and we really appreciate you being here. Tell a friend. Have a good weekend, and we will see you Monday. With who we got coming on Monday? We got a Flatwater Free Press coming through on Monday. So we'll be talking to one of their new reporters then too.
Yep. In the meantime, in between time, take care of yourselves. Catch the same time, same place. Have a good weekend.
Peace.
By the way, Vanglorious. This is protected by the red, the black, and the green.